While the first half of the color course set out to explain color and its technical prowess, this lesson marks the beginning of the second half of the course, which is focused on working with color. When I was in school, I often found it easier to understand new concepts by first recognizing I was doing something wrong in the first place. I'm going to do the same with these working with color lessons and starting with showing a few of the common mistakes I not only see with younger artists, but have experienced myself. So I'm going to list out the 6 most common that I have seen and want to show, but no, common color mistakes are not limited to just these 6. And it wouldn't be fair to just show what is broken with these methods, so I will show you how to fix them as well throughout the remaining lessons in this course. The first is using Burn and Dodge tool to add shadows and highlights. While you can use these tools for your pieces, most often they are used incorrectly. These tools are meant to lighten or darken areas of an image based on a traditional darkroom technique for regulating exposure, meaning photographers would take their photos into Photoshop and use Dodge or Burn to effectively add exposure and vice versa. Like I said, you can use these tools, but I would much prefer you learn how to choose which colors to add light and shadow and with purpose rather than rely on exposure tools. And even the term burn should imply that you are destroying your piece. The remaining mistakes are further explained in later lessons, but this one will be the one mistake that I recommend just avoiding working with. It's better to first properly learn how to lighten and darken your subject matter, and then deciding if burn and dodge is an appropriate tool for you to work with. The second mistake is only using shades and tints of a particular hue, or more plainly, only using black and white for the shadows and highlights. So in this example, we have our red that mixes with black and white to create 2 in-between swatches, and I would consider this the most prevalent common mistake with younger artists. This only relies on brightness variation to create form and does away with incorporating hue or any feeling behind it. In the final results, the form often looks uninteresting, dull, and lifeless. We will further explain this in the next lesson. The third mistake is having poor relationships. This can be with the foreground and background elements, or even having 2 colors that are heavily conflicting one another on an outfit a character is wearing. This kind of mistake is one that you learn to overcome and achieve rich relationships over time with practice that is aware and with purpose. Typically, it's just a lack of contrast, and we want to start thinking of contrast not just in brightness, but also with hue and saturation. Which leads us to the fourth mistake, which is oversaturation. This one deals with having the wrong mindset and approach to adding saturation. I really enjoy when we explored this theory later on, as it seemed to have the most impact on the students I was teaching color to at an art university recently. The idea is that you have to think on a grander scale of contrast and relationships. If you really want to make your subject matter more saturated, rather than adding saturation to it, instead you make the areas around the subject matter less saturated, in turn making the subject matter appear more saturated without actually adding anything to it. The first time you achieve this effect, it's like something just clicks, and you will be able to apply this theory to not only saturation, but to brightness and hue as well. It's also important to know how impactful working with neutrals can be, and using saturation more sparingly. This actually creates a higher contrast and adds a visual interest that wouldn't be there if everything in the scene was super saturated. Also, if you saturate too much, you can start to create a visual uneasiness that the viewer will want to look away from, which is the opposite effect we are looking to achieve. The fifth mistake is having a lost color identity. This is created when there is too much light and dark value scales present and overwhelms the subject matter. This blurs the presence of what that object's true hue identity would be. The short fix of this is to limit where you add too much light and dark gradients on your subject matter, and having the true hue identity of an object be present and noticeable between the highlight and the shadow. More than often, it's having too much highlight present, and this washes out the object. You do have to keep in mind the material and texture of an object, which will be covered in the next course, but for color specifically, just be sure the viewer has enough clues as to what the true hue identity of the object is. The last mistake for this lesson is one that pertains to working with lighting and having the shadows multiplying into each other. This is not an accurate depiction of how shadows work from a single light source. When thinking in color, Rather than having the area where shadows meet multiply into each other and have a darker value present, it's much more accurate to have the shadow color be the exact same. This looks cleaner and more true to how lighting actually works with just a singular shadow. Now, even though I saw there are 6 common mistakes that I can easily visually represent here, I believe there is a last one that is more pertaining to the artist. That is a lack of confidence. It's like being scared or timid to experiment with color. I'm not sure why this seems to be the case with most artists, but why not give yourself the pass to be crazy with color and really push some strange color combinations? You'll never know what works or how to approach color if you never try. It also should be clear that although there are certain rules with working in color, it is better to be honest with yourself on the colors you are choosing. I'll end this lesson with the statement that it is better to choose colors with quick, intuitive selections that represent your own perceptions immediately. It may result in an unsuspected surprise that doesn't act according to rules or principles, but rather on what you as the artist sees and feels. And remember, working with color is meant to be fun. You only have to allow it to be so.